anything on the bike that gave you an indication how fast you were going, or
No,
it was
no.
just
I
they
had
told
I had one of those 10-speed. I think that at the time they call it the Cyclone speedometer, and
Yeah.
this little
Yeah.
bitty thing, and it tapped out at 65 or 66 miles an hour. And
Wow.
I mean, it just went double zero. It wouldn't go any faster than that.
That'd be funny.
And
It was like,
yeah, it went like this, and this also it just think that was it.
all right, I'm going to go. You ready?
Hold on a second, King. Yeah, I got a special guest calling in real quick here for Tommy. Tommy, can you hear me?
Tommy
Yeah.
Lee.
Oh my God, Greg!
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Tommy Lee Brackens.
For some
What
reason,
up?
I knew he was gonna click in. For some reason. Oh,
Yeah,
Greg, I love
just
you. You
wanted
know
to
that.
share it. So, and then I'm going to get out of here so you guys could enjoy talking about it.
Oh no,
yeah,
no,
Greg
no,
has
no.
been-
Get off
Greg has
the
been
phone,
dying.
Greg.
Just two really fast ones, and then I'm out.
All right, go for it, Greg.
Oh, two really fast ones. Okay.
The first one is, I always call Tommy TLB, and people are like, why do you call him that? And I'm like, well, I called Tommy's house one time. His mom answered the phone. I said, hello, is Tommy there? And his mom was really cool. And she says, yeah, just a second. And then she holds the phone to the side and she yells, man, like 4 houses down probably heard it. Tommy Lee! Tommy Lee! And then she got back on the phone. I said, I just want to say thank you so much. And then, and so from that day forward, it was Tommy Lee. But the best one was, okay, and then I'm out of here. I'll just drop this one. The best one was being on a 747 packed
Going
on
to
the way to
Paris.
France, the day of Tommy's birthday, which I think he won. He won the King of Bercy, so that was cool. And I asked the stewardess if I could talk to the pilot, and she's like, yeah, no problem. So I said, hey, my good buddy back here, he's like world champion BMX racer. It's his birthday. Is there any way
Oh
you
my
could
God.
sing happy birthday over the PA system to him? He's like, yeah, we'll work it out. So 5 minutes later, he gets on there. He goes, hey, guys, we have a special guest today, world champion BMXer Tommy Brackens. It's his birthday today, and I want to lead you all in singing happy birthday. So the next thing you know, the captain's singing, the stewardess is singing, the whole plane.
Plane is singing.
Happy birthday to Tommy Brackens. And Tommy, who's a pretty big dude, is shriveled down in his seat trying to hide. the whole plane came to him, and it was excellent. And I know he would never bring that up, so that's why
No, I
wanted.
wouldn't have brought it up, but thank you, Greg. Listen, guys, Greg is he's a part of me, you know, and we race against each other, we travel a lot, you know, and we always have a good time, and Greg always get the best of me. Always.
That's because you're too nice. I always told you that, even on the track.
And
Nice.
yeah, okay. This guy, but Greg always has my back. He always had my back.
Always.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Absolutely.
he always. I remember let me tell you this little quick story. Greg, you always embarrass me, but it's funny to me. Yeah, I was about this tall, you know, when he sang happy birthday. The whole plane did. We were racing in Oregon, and I had some trouble with Ronnie Anderson.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know, was the clock in Miss Oregon, Greg, or I was up in Washington or Oregon, and Greg Hill and Gary Ellis had my back. And across the finish line, Ronnie decided to kick his rear wheel out of my front wheel, so I flipped over the bars. And
Whoa.
I drew a blank, and I went into hood mode. And I went after Ronnie. That's the first time I got so upset that I went after someone. And I went after Ronnie, and someone put me in the full Nelson to stop me. Well, when I turned around and see who it was Richie who grabbed me, his brother. And then I heard of Greg
Oh,
Hill's
I
voice.
remember
He said,
that like it was
well,
yesterday.
yeah, well, you take it over from there, Greg, because I was blanked out, man. I was so mad. Oh, jeez. I was so.
Basically, I told Richie, because Richie came up and had Tommy in a full Nelson, and Ronnie was standing 5 feet in front, okay,
Yeah.
of these guys. And I told Richie, I had to look up to tell him this because he's tall, but I'm fully convicted that I know how it would have ended. I said, bro, you need to let go of him or I'm going to bust your face right now. This is between him and your brother. So let him go now or lose some teeth. And so they let him go. But by the time that all happened, in usual fashion, like Clayton John and officials were there and everything. But yeah, look, I mean, if Tommy is at a race and the whole entire class is after him to beat his ass, they're going to have to beat my ass too. And I just don't feel like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I got his back. So anyways, yeah. But this is all about Tommy right now. It's not about me. I just want to share the story. And because he's super humble and nice and he won't bring up a lot of stuff. Like he probably won't bring up the white courtesy phone announcement.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
About that too.
Why are you telling me this, Greg? I mean,
you guys have a great show, and I'm going to be ready to listen to it.
Thanks,
oh,
Greg.
my God. Love you, Greg.
Guys. All right, guys. We'll talk at you soon. Love you, Tommy. Talk to you soon. Peace.
All right. Love you too, buddy. Thanks a lot, Greg.
What
That's a good way to start.
treat.
Yeah.
Yo, Tommy, I had to do that because Greg was like, you have to ask him. You have to ask him. And he told us a couple times. And I wrote it down and I go, I know I'm going to not ask him right. So I'm like, I messaged Greg and I go, dude, call me. Tommy's about to come on. Now's your chance to ask that. Oh, that was really cool.
For some reason, when you said, hold on, I'm like, I don't think he's going to. No, yeah, he might get Greg on the phone. Greg might be calling or something like that. I'm like, holy cow. Because Greg and I, maybe.
Nice. Well,
we just had so much fun.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And if you haven't figured it out already, we got Tommy Brackens on the show today. Tommy, thank you very much. I know that we had to reschedule once, so I appreciate your patience and joining Danny and I on the show today.
Yeah, no problem.
I got so Tommy, I start off a lot of shows like this because over the years I've run into my heroes, you being one of them, and I always get a photo. And this photo is of me and you, and this is from my best guess, Tommy. This is probably 2005, maybe, and you were in Reno at the Silver Dollar Nationals, and I don't know.
Oh, yeah. And
you know how
young we are.
we were young, dude. And you know who took that photo? Clayton John took that photo.
Really?
Yeah, I had a flip phone with a camera on it because it was the early days. And I brought my kids. My kids are in their late 20s, but at the time they were little kids. And I told my ex-wife, I go, I'm going to go to Reno for the day, and I'm going to go watch the Silver Dollar Nationals. I wasn't really actively racing. And she said, take the kids with you. They'll like it. So I was like, cool. So I took them with me. And we're kind of, you know how it is at the in that livestock arena, how you can just walk all the way around.
Walk all the way around, yeah.
So I'm walking around. I was just soaking everything in, and I saw you talking to Clayton John, and dude, I got starstruck. I was like, "Oh, are you Tommy Brackens?" And you're like, "Yeah." You were smiling. I said, "The human dragster," and then Clayton started laughing, man, because I'm a grown man, dude, and I got like, I immediately turned into a 13-year-old, and I was like, and it was Clayton's idea to take the photo. He goes, "You guys want to get a picture?" And I go, "Yeah," and I was starstruck for seeing Clayton John too, because I don't go to a lot of nationals. Yeah. So I was like, damn, Clayton John is taking this photo of me and Tommy Brackens, and I sent it to my ex-wife. I go, "Check this out," and she had this printed for me when I got home. So I was like, it was like really cool.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I held on to that all this time, man. So that's really
cow.
Well, hopefully we're gonna talk to Tommy all about. I'm interested in his GPV background. We're gonna talk about BMX. But I was kind of curious. The question that came off the top of my head was, dude, what do people not know about you? Do you have any hobbies outside of bicycles? You like crocheting? Are you a scrapbooker? Or do you have any other interests besides BMX?
Yeah, I got other interests. I used to be a falconer back in the day.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
Yeah, and I love animals. I love birds, but can't have a hawk or a falcon right now because they eat other animals. And my wife like, nope, nope, nope. You're not getting into that. No, no. So I used to drag race cars. I had a truck that I used to race, and that got too expensive. So I'm into everything. Right now I'm just living life, really.
Yeah.
Just
falconer, dude. That is so. Is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. the most famous falconer in the world?
no, not to my knowledge. But I'm glad you brought up that GPV thing, the gravity bikes, man. Those thing was a blast. They were a lot of fun. Hooked up with Dwight Garland, Earl Ross, all BMXers. Right? When this first started out, I think it was Dan Hannenbrink. I seen a magazine with Dan Hannenbrink with this Dan Hannenbrink and Brad Fanshaw. They come up with this bike with the fairing on it. It's like pretty cool. That's really nice.
Yeah.
And back in, I think it was 1987, 88, back in Southern California, GMR, Glendora Mountain Road. I think it was a friend of ours said, hey, you ought to just go up there. I think it was Alan. I can't recall who was that. Alan lived in San Dimas, and we went up to just drove up to the road and saw this road like, hey, this is a killer road, but it wasn't closed off, so you have traffic going up there, back and forth. And so we had our BMX bikes. We just put some cruiser bars upside down, and some guys had 24-inch cruisers, put the frame upside down, put pegs in the back, and just coast down the hill, 30, 40 miles an hour with top speed at that time. And it was a blast. And then we went to Turnbull Canyon in Southern California, and we used to ride at nighttime because we could see the car's headlights coming up the hill. Say, okay, pull off to the side, let him go by, and then we get back on the bike again.
Okay.
That's when Todd Hoffman and his brother was running the show over there at Turnbull Canyon. Eddie Filler showed up, Martin Epperly Hill. So it started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Then the Northern Cal guys started coming down to our races. And so, and guys from East LA was coming up. So we had, 50, 60 guys at one group with all these bikes. Every single bike was different. I built, this is when I had quit GT. I had the Maui blue frame and fork from GT that I raced. And that's the frame and fork that I won Paris with. And I converted that into a GPV bike.
Okay.
And
do you flip it upside down, Tommy, if I remember right? Is that
but
how?
a 20-inch, there's no need to flip it upside down because it's already low. The top two is lower than the cruiser. But some guys were running the cruiser, but they would flip their bike upside down to rest their chest on like the bottom bracket and chainstay down there. Wow. And some guys ran 16-inch tough wheels. I wouldn't run those 16-inch because the 16-inch wheels spin so fast they throw the bike off balance.
Yeah.
But back in those days, I weighed my wheels, so they would spin without the one, especially the inner tube and valve spin. It just throws the center of gravity off on the wheels, and you going 30, 40 and 40 miles an hour is fine. It's okay, but you reach up to like 60 miles an hour and above, then that's when you start to get the balance kind of off. And I remember two guys that I know of that crashed a GPV bike over 75 miles an hour.
Richard Kerr, one of them.
Richard Kerr was one of them, exactly. My man, Rich. Yeah. Rich is extremely smart. The guy, he's on point. and he was extremely fast. I looked up to him. I looked up to Dan Hannebrink, his son Jared, Dwight Garland, uh, Kelly Stamp, Furman, the guys from East LA. Those guys was freaking fast.
Well, didn't Hannah crashed in the same race that Richard did, right? Richard took him out.
Yeah. Richard, and I think I told Richard. I think Richard weighed his bike down because at that time we didn't have a rule about how much weight your bike could weigh, and I think Richard's bike weighs like 80 pounds, 75 pounds, 80 pounds, and I knew. On that particular road, I think it was in Escondido. On that particular road, you had a right turn shaped as an L. And you going 60, 70 miles an hour. And he tried to carve it, and the weight just pushing to the outside. And it was a big mountain right there. And he just hit that mound of dirt and climbed up the mountain. I just zipped right by him. I didn't know what happened. I just heard this big crash, like a lot of glass breaking, And I just tucked in and just didn't try not to think about it.
We talked to Richard about that race, and he said he puts the blame on the motorcycle that was filming.
Yeah, that we passed.
They cut him off and he hit the wall.
Yeah, that was insane. I mean, I talked to him after the race. He said, I'm fine. I'm like, dude, you're not fine. You crashed, man. Like, you burn your back. Jeez. But the funny thing about that.
Was Hannebrink the guy? Is he the godfather of GPV, or whose brainchild was this?
I don't know. I know they were doing it way before we were doing it. But all the BMXers came into it and promoted it more. The magazine people started picking it up. BMX Plus and Action, and some of those guys from BMX Action that worked for BMX Action was also racing it. So Gork said, hey, we're going to do a story on this and just blow it up. And so that's exactly what had happened.
Richard shared a story, I think, Danny, correct me if I'm wrong, where you were at his house or he was at your house and you guys put like tape and yarn on the fairy and you were blowing it with like a fan trying to get the
aerodynamics.
Is that true?
I don't recall. That happened so long ago. I know Richard, I think he liked to practice on Crestline, and he was, just like I said, Richard is extremely smart. He was getting every ounce of speed out of a bike, and he was doing all that stuff, aerodynamics. And I wasn't much into the aerodynamics until we got into the tramway. And now, mind you, we were going 30, 40 mile an hour tops on these roads, and Scott Breitop got a hold of me and asked me if I could try out this road in Palm Springs, the tramway. I never heard of the tramway. And so Kevin Hall and I jumped in my Tahoe and we drove up there. And Scott said, we're going to start from the top of the hill and work our way down. And this is where aerodynamics came in big time. And he asked Kevin and I to start from the top and come down. And halfway down, there's a road divide. It looks like a big eye, almost like an egg that you have to go around. The traffic go around, the opposite sides.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to make a decision. You're going to go to the inside or the outside. And I felt, when I was coming down, I felt a lot of wind on my arms. I said, okay, I can't tuck down any more further. And I cracked, so I had to come up a way to block out these holes for having the wind coming in. And Kevin had 16-inch wheels, and Kevin took off first, and I took off later behind him. And I seen Kevin, when I was talking about the wheel balance, I seen his front end start to hop. And once that front end starts to speed wobbles, you can't save it, And at the time, my ex-wife was following us in the Tahoe. Now, I think Kevin went down at 75 miles an hour. He just crashed. I kept going. Get down the bottom of the hill, and mind you, the last stretch is like 2 miles long. I mean, it's just a straight shot. And so I finished up that run, and I came back, and I seen Kevin. I seen my Tahoe coming down, and Kevin's in the front seat. And I said, "You all right?" And he said, "Man," I burnt up everything. Like, and my ex said, when he hit the ground, blue smoke came up. When he hit the ground,
Wow.
it just burned. Luckily, he had the knee guards, shin pads. I mean, you was all plastered up, and he melted all the pads. I mean, just melted it.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was going 75 miles an hour.
What? Okay. You were the world champion GPV racer, right?
Unofficially. I won a lot of races in the GPV. The fastest I've gone in the GPV is 91 miles an hour. And I passed the ESPN motorcycle twice. And he was going 85.
Jeez.
And I tried to get a draft off the motorcycle.
Dang. Might be a dumb question, but was there anything on the bike that gave you an indication how fast you were going? Or
no,
it was just
I had one of those 10-speed. I think that at the time they call it the Cyclone speedometer.
Yeah.
This little bitty thing, and it tapped out at 65 or 66 miles an hour. And
wow.
I mean, it just went 00. It wouldn't go any faster than that.
That'd be funny. It was like,
yeah, it went like this, and this also it just think that was it. It just went 0. I didn't know how fast I was going. The motorcycle, just like I said, he got in my way twice, and I could hear him coming up from behind to film me. Now, you think this is crazy, what we were doing. You had two guys on the motorcycle. One was riding it, and the other one was sitting backwards, filming.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that's the craziest thing. And as I'm coming up, those guys, the ratio of me catching these guys is like they almost were standing still.
Wow.
And I had to look up, and hey, I'm coming at these guys, and I had to, move over to the side. And as I move over to the side, the motorcycle kind of wiggled like that. And I get to the finish line, and people come up to me and say, "Dude, you know how fast you was going?" I have no idea. 60, 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So the motorcycle guy come run over to me with the big old camera on his shoulder. He said, "Dude, that was awesome. Guess how fast you was going?" 70, 75? He said, "No, you passed us at 85 miles an hour." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "No, you passed us at 85 miles an hour." And when he had told me that, it just triggered in my mind. It's like, this is nuts. And so I was spooked from that moment on.
On miles per hour wise, where does it get sketchy? That at 60, at 70, when do you start saying, "Oh shit, now it's no joke anymore"? Is there a threshold?
I wasn't even, when you're on that, you didn't even think about that. I mean, because to me, everything was in slow motion. I mean, everything. I could spot a rock or something going that fast. It didn't bother me at that time.
Yeah.
It bothered me when they said that, I passed him at 85 miles an hour and went 91. Then I seen clips of that race. And one of the races that I seen that kind of spooked me is when I passed Dan Hannenbrink. He had that bullet bike, weighs like 100 pounds or whatever. And that thing was completely aerodynamic. And I knew I wasn't going to beat the guy because the last straight's like 2 miles long. And so I'm looking at my front end. My front end is drifting like this in the corners. I was on the verge of just slamming. The tires that I was running were those comp pool tires, and they shaped like an egg almost.
Yeah.
And so when you turn the bike just want to lay down. It just want to throw you down. So you have to be very careful of going in the corners. And I saw that like, good God, man. I was like on the verge of crashing my brains out. Had no idea. I said, I'm one and done. That's it.
I'm sorry. For once I booger other questions, Danny, go for it.
It's okay. It's funny, Tommy, because I told Kevin this morning, I said, "Do you want to lead with the questions? Because I always start off and then I have to wait. He's waiting patiently to talk." You know, and I'm like rolling through them. But yeah, well, let's go back to BMX for a second. I mean, that GPV stuff is pretty awesome because
Yeah.
I know I was reading about it, and I often wondered why it kind of died, where it got you guys peaked really fast and then it just disappeared.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, is it still a thing? Are there guys out there still doing it? Do you know of?
There's guys that I've seen in I think it's Colombia. They still doing it out there. Yeah, they still doing it. And I always thought that may be so cool to, to have this thing sanctioned to where that we can race on a road that no cars was on. But once again, coming up, the roads that we were on, they had to be blocked. Excuse me, they had to be blocked off by cops, and it costs a lot of money to have the highway patrol come and block off the traffic. Plus, you got to get permission from the city.
Yeah.
Then you had to get all these ambulance down there and all this stuff. So it's just a lot of politics involved in that. I was very lucky to race as long as I did, and we made it into the X Games back in 2000, thanks to Dwight Garland and his connections, and Marcus Riddimer, I think he was the name. He was our director for the GPVs, and he got us in there on a certain group of riders that was got in there, and I was lucky enough to win the gold medal at the X Games in 2000. That was a lot of fun. The top speed, I'm guessing probably like 60, 70 miles an hour.
That's insane.
On that course. And that was a fun course because we were starting off in between condos in San Francisco. In between condos. The starting gate is right in between these condos there, and we was on the public street, basically.
Wow.
And so was the street luge. And I made a mental note not to go to the outside, because when the luge guys get on the course, they polyurethane wheels have little marbles that kicks off of them, and we call that the dirty spot, where you actually see the little marble, the little brown clear marbles. Once you get into that, it's like on ice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And I remember talking to a guy named Matt. And I used to tell people exactly what I was going to do, about pumping my brakes. I never ride my brakes, I pump them. And I told Matt what I was going to do right before the main event, and he didn't believe me. So he just went balls out. And I'm looking at it. He's like about 3 or 4 bike lengths in front of me. I'm just watching him, and he went out wide, and I just dove to the inside. And I like, see, I heard this big crash. I was like, he's done. I'm like, why didn't these guys want to believe me? I say exactly what I was going to do. And they're like, no, we don't trust that. So okay.
So I before we move on to BMX, I have one question I want to ask you. What is the one most important riding trait a GPV racer should have besides a huge set of stones? What are the characteristics of a successful GPV racer?
Study other riders. Study them.
Yeah.
Watch their lines, especially the faster guys.
Okay.
Watch their lines, because they're taking the fastest lines.
Yeah.
And you want to be aware of that. And also you have to be aware about your surroundings, where you're going to make the pass. Because once you pass somebody for the lead, you're a sitting duck. They can get behind you and draft you and just wait until the right moment to go by you.
Good point, man.
It's just like we're racing motorcycles, but more motorcycles has the power. We don't have the power.
Oh, it's all gravity pulling you.
Yeah, it's all gravity. It's all gravity. So once you pass somebody, it might take you, 100 yards to catch up with them, to pass them again.
Yeah.
But once they make that last move, which I've done that at Glendora Mountain Road, as we coming up for the main event, I told myself I need to find a spot where I'm going to pass someone, because I don't want to be in the lead going down the hill, going towards the finish line. I want to be in the lead coming out of the last turn, not really going into the last turn. Because I'm going to catch the draft. And that's exactly what I did.
And your bike is in the Hall of Fame, right?
That bike is in the Hall of Fame. That bike, believe it or not, you guys are going to crack up. Believe it or not, I built that bike to beat Dan Hannenbrink. And
Nice.
Dan, God bless his soul. Um, Dan Hannenbrink and his son Jared was fast, but Jared liked to take chances, which
Yeah.
he's a racer. He's a very I respect Jared. But that bike was built to beat Dan, and I was working for Huffy Service First back in the day, and I bought that bike. It was a 20-inch, like a mountain bike type of bike, but it was a 20-inch. It had front suspension and rear suspension. I bought it for $20. And I called up Mike Devitt from SE. At the time, I was living in, oh my God, we were living in Sacramento at the time.
Okay.
And I called up Mike Devitt, and Mike said, hey, if you could come down here, I think it was a Thursday or Friday, if you could come down here, we could cut it up and build it exactly the way you want it. So I drove down there, exactly what he did. He built it up. I asked him, I put the tube and all that stuff. And Sal was his welder, and they welded it all up for me. I brought it home, built it all up, put the fairing on, and I went to Scott Burdick. No, Scott Burdick? Barrett. What's it, Barrett? Gork's Brothers Bike Shop.
Oh, wow.
And I took it up there, and he looked at it, and they was like amazed by it. It was the first GPV bike with front and rear suspension, dual disc brakes. That's the very first bike. Dan built the bike, but he only had front disc brakes.
Yeah.
And I recall, this is wild. I recall building that bike. At the time, my wife and I moved up to Salinas, which is up near Monterey.
Right.
And Dwight Garland called me up, and he said, hey, we're going to be in the X Games, right? He said, but we have to qualify for it. And said, we all have to race this race in St. George, Utah, and it's coming up this weekend. I never tested the bike. I just pushed it down the street. It didn't have the tailpiece on it. It had the banana seat on it.
Yeah.
And so it was a Friday after work. I drove Friday, all night Friday, to early Saturday morning to St. George, Utah. I made it there around 6:30, 7 o'clock. The time trials was 7:30. I don't know how many bottles of Mountain Dew I drank to stay awake. And Earl Ross, it was so funny because Earl Ross looked at me and said, Tommy, you look like crap. I said, dude, I drove all night. I haven't slept yet. But I went out there and set the fastest lap time for the bikes and raced the motos, no problem qualifying. Main event, they combined the fairing bikes and the non-fairing bikes. And Kelly Stamp on that day was the fastest non-fairing bike. And it was between me and him. And I just waited to the last straighter at the passing because I knew I was going to be able to pass him, but he gave me a run for the money. So that's why we qualified for the X Games at that race.
Okay.
Wow, dude. Well, that's very cool, dude. I've had a bunch of questions for you about that for a while now. So thanks a lot for that, Tommy.
Yeah, and also that the gravity bike. I don't know if you guys read the little column that Gork put up there, but that bike, I can name a couple of guys who helped me build the bike, which is obviously SC, Mike Devitt, Sal. David Clinton was working for Answer at the time. So I called up Dave Clinton and said, hey, do you guys have any 20-inch BMX type forks? He said, no, but we could make you some. We could custom build. So I need it for my gravity bike. He said, killer. He said, just put a sticker in your fang or whatever. And man, he built me like in 3.5 weeks. He sent down some forks to me. I sent up some forks to me. These things were so tricked. And those are the forks on the bike right now. They're all oiled inside. They have little knobs. You could adjust the suspension, harder, soft. I mean,
Wow.
it's tricked. This thing is tricked.
Wow.
Oh, you really got into it, Tommy. It wasn't just like a little fad for you. I mean, you threw yourself really into that,
Oh
right?
yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was the up and coming sport. People saying it was really dangerous. I said, riding bikes on the street is dangerous. We were
Yeah, yeah.
here on the street on a closed course in a sense. Um, but it just, I think what had happened was why it just died out so soon is the fact that a lot of street kids started going downhill and getting hammered. I mean, they were getting hurt
Oh,
bad.
yeah, yeah.
And so a lot of these organizations say, hey, this is super dangerous. We're getting a lot of callback, feedback from people, parents and everything that, these guys are going down the hills and, going super fast and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, crap. So it just faded out.
Yeah, how do you feel about that, Tommy? Leading into that question is there's the newest thing now is the wheelie kids, on the big bikes, the 29ers, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I myself, my personal opinion about it, I love seeing kids on bikes. Doesn't matter, especially BMX style bikes.
Yeah.
But when they're doing the wheelies and dodging cars that are moving,
Yeah.
I cringe every time I see that. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, you're gonna get hurt, man. It just takes one mistake and
Yep.
you'll die.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that and this whole new craze?
Well, sooner or later, they're going to stop that if someone gets hurt, going to get run over, because
Yeah,
I have flashbacks. That's exactly what happened with the DPV deal.
yeah,
That other people will see that, and you get the younger kids out there, they don't have no sense. They just
yeah.
think that they're invisible. They're invincible. They
Right,
have all this shield. You don't have no shield around you. And you
right.
weaving back and forth, and you can have just somebody is going to come out and just nail somebody.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, it's gonna happen. Yeah.
that's where then you're going to have the cops on you all the time. They're going to be following you all the time. And the moment that you guys form up to a group, they're going to break that group up. They're going to be following you. And then if that doesn't work, they're going to start arresting people.
Pretty
Impounding their
much.
bikes and stuff.
Yeah, they're already pounding bikes, I think.
Yeah, yeah. They're going to start, or they're doing that now. And the next step is going to start arresting people.
Yeah. Yeah, because I see it. My kids ask me, Dad, did you guys do that kind of stuff? I go, no. Like we would ride in groups, and but it was never like I think we were
Crazy
trying
stuff.
to avoid getting hit by cars. Like we were all jumping on and off the curbs and back on
Yeah,
sidewalks.
yeah.
Like So I said I rarely even really rode in the middle of the street. It was always
Yeah.
off the side,
What?
And,
Yeah.
I always thought that was weird.
Yeah, same here. I look at that. I mean, even years ago, I recall that Todd Lyons, when I was back in California, wanted me to go on a bike ride, and
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, what's bike? Oh, downtown LA." No, I'm not going, man. I mean, I live in South Central. Well, I grew up in South Central. So downtown is about like a 25-minute drive on the freeway. No, I'm not going to downtown. They don't
Yeah.
play down there in downtown. I said, dude, you don't realize what you're getting yourself into when you start doing that stuff downtown in certain areas.
That is, I was going to ask you about that, Tommy, because you gravitated towards a sport that was more white dominated, and then you got into the sport. Yet you were living in South Central and riding these high-end race bikes. And how the hell did you train in your own neighborhood with because it's dangerous, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I got together. Oh my God, I remember the day that I started racing vividly. A guy named Mark Harrison came by my house, and he had a Raleigh Rampart, powder blue, like the bike you got hanging up, Danny.
Yeah.
And mind you, I'm used to Royce Unions, Huffy, Kent, all those cheap, heavy 45, 55-pound bicycles, right?
Yeah.
With the single stem. And he came up with this bike, and I like, holy crap, what is that? Aluminum wheels and all this. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's a BMX bike. That's the first bike I seen with that double triangle,
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, he said, hey, take it for a ride. So I rode this thing, like, man, what's the weight on this bike? He said, oh, it's just about 20 pounds, I guess, something like that.
Yeah.
And like, holy crap. And so I saw, I thumped the tubing and it had a weird sound to it because steel and the chromatic, the sounds are totally different. One sounds solid, the other one's like ding ding, like a little bell.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, I'm going up the Devil's Dip, was the place where we rode to ride." And I said, "Oh, can I go up there with you?" So yeah, so put the bike in the back of my truck and my El Camino. We took up, went up there, and and he gave me his helmet. He said, "Well, you take it for a ride." And so I started riding this thing. I'm like, "Holy crap!" I thought I was gonna break it. He had the Durace 3-piece cranks on there, and I was like, "Holy!" I said, "This is pretty cool." He said, "Hey, I'm going out to Van Nuys Wednesday night. You want to go?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I went up there with him, and it was Valley Youth Center
Okay.
on what's that, Victory Boulevard, I think it was, down the street from that Birmingham High School, and went up there one Wednesday night, and it was packed. I mean, it was a lot of people up there. I'm like, this is pretty cool. But when I saw the track, I'm like, what the crap? I said, dude, I could go around this track twice, right? He took off his helmet. He took off his helmet and gave me his glove. He said, go out there. And so I got on the starting gate, didn't know how to start, one pedal start and everything. So I went out there and I rode, and I thought I was doing great things, right? I come out that first turn, I couldn't even breathe, right? Because it was totally different than I expected.
Yeah.
And I came back. He said, "How was it?" He said, "This is different." I said, "But I like it," right?
Yeah.
So that Friday night I came out, and I had I still had pictures of my old bike. And I don't know where, I think it was where we lived, they used to steal a lot of bikes and throw them in alleys.
Yeah.
And so this bike, I seen this little 20-inch, but they had the double triangle. And that's the first thing that I was looking at. I said, "Oh, this is one of the newer bikes." Well, that bike was heavy too, but I didn't care because it was a double triangle.
Yeah.
And I wound up building that thing up, and it had the motor mag in the front and aluminum wheel in the back. Back in the day, that was the thing, And I jumped on that. I never could fit. It was August 11th, 7:30 p.m. I think I paid like $5 to sign up or something like that. I think it was $5 to sign up, and raced my first race. Didn't win that race. I raced 16 over novice. I was 17, almost 18. I probably was 18 years old by then.
That is the most interesting thing, because that's what you and Kevin have in common, is you both started.
I have something in common with Tommy Brackens.
Yeah. You started late too, huh?
Yeah.
Fist pump, Kevin. Fist pump, Kevin.
That is crazy. See, because if you think about it, Tommy, you started 16, 17 years old. And what tipped me off.
I started 17. I was 3 months from my 18th birthday.
There you go. Because what tipped me off is you said we jumped in my El Camino, and I'm like, this fool was already driving and had a car. And so then they went to the race for the first time. And then,
I rode my whole life, but I didn't start racing until I was 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that
Same here. We used to put little crates up with the wood up.
Yeah.
Use it for ramps. And I remember the cop come by the alley and get, they would give us like whoever could jump the furthest would get a quarter or something like that. And I would jump in the furthest.
Nice.
Then we used to break up bottles on there and say, "Hey, you have to jump, 10 feet out to make it over the broken bottles." So if you don't make it, you get an instant flat tire.
That's a good idea.
This is like the craziest thing, Tommy, is when I think about your story in particular, because you started late. I knew you started late because I had read interviews about you. But you went from like, I've never raced before, I was winded at the first turn, to being factory power light. And it was like quick. I mean, so how did that happen so fast?
Okay, I'm gonna walk you through my sponsorships, because if you can see behind me, those are the majority. I have one jersey up there I haven't put up yet, but those are all the team that I raced for from the very beginning to the last.
Were you on? You were on Jag with Anthony?
Yeah, no? I was on Jag with Anthony, but that was my second sponsor.
Okay.
My first sponsor was the pedal shop in North Hollywood, owned by Larry Hoffman.
Okay.
The same bike shop that Charlie Williams rode out of.
Okay.
And when I was starting racing, 16 over novice, they didn't have a 16 beginner. I ran 16 over novice. And at that time, my cat trying to get in the way. At that time, you have to win, I think, 10 first place trophies within a year to move up to the next class.
Okay.
And so I was going out there Wednesday night, Friday night, Saturday morning, and then Sunday, I raced like Monrovia or Azusa or something like that. But I was racing almost 4 or 5 times a week.
Wow.
But it was different tracks. And so my first sponsorship, I was in touch with Charlie Williams and a guy named Paul Emright. And I used to drive by Charlie's house, pick him up. And sometimes Paul's over there. So us three used to go to Van Nuys race. I'd bring him back. And I remember Paul Emright said, Tommy, you're pretty fast. I'm going to talk to Larry from the paddle shop and see if he'd sponsor you.
Okay.
I'm like, cool. And so about a week later, Larry wanted to talk to me at his bike shop. So I went over to this bike shop, Charlie, myself, and Paul. And Larry gave me this blue jersey, and I thought I was on cloud 9, right? And he said the fact, and that, mind you, this is 1978.
Wow.
And he said, okay, Tommy, here's a jersey. You ride for the team, and this is what I'm going to do for you. He said, if you want any parts, it will cost you 10% above my cost. I'm in now.
Yeah.
To me at that time, it was a factory ride.
Mm-hmm.
My first sponsorship and everything. And I wore that jersey proudly.
Mm-hmm.
Blue jeans and a jersey. Taped the wrap around my my right ankle to keep the pants from going into the chain.
Hey, Tommy, when I got on May bikes, I wore my jersey to school.
Yeah, but you felt like you belonged to somebody now. Like you part of something now.
Yeah.
And from there, I raced. I raced a lot because I wanted to get better. Mind you, I had no idea on the gearing, tires, what size tires, how long the crank on. I didn't know none of that stuff. Nothing.
Yeah.
I put it on the bike because I liked the color, and I just raced with it. And found out that the Durace cranks, I was bending them. So I said, okay, 3-piece aluminum cranks, no good. Then I went with the steel. Someone stole a Swin Varsity. I'm never gonna forget this. A yellow Swin Varsity 10-speed, and I took the cranks off that. It was longer than the cranks that I had on the bike before. And now, if you talk with Tennell, Tennell's like Greg Hill. He tells some stories like when Tommy used to come out and practice with Jag Team, he used to have like 3-inch cranks, and he'd spin. But he was beating everybody by spinning. I said, dude, I didn't have no 3-inch cranks. He's like, yeah, dude. So, to this day, we still argue about that.
The cotter pin cranks.
Yeah. Exactly. Man, it was nuts. But that was my first sponsor. And then I met Anthony and Tennell. I met Tennell when he was 19. I was 17.
Okay.
Once again. And Tennell said, hey, we're going to go up to Devil's Dip and practice. So I started practicing with the Jag Team. And I saw, getting these magazines. And I remember my first BMX magazine was BMX Action. And the front cover shot was Dave Clinton and Stu. I don't know if it was that Saddlebag or something, but Stu was coming in on the inside of Dave Clinton. And Dave was just leaning on Stewart. And Stewart just trying to lean back on him.
Yeah.
That was my first magazine. I started looking through that, I'm like checking out all the parts and all this stuff, what the guys was writing with. And one thing stuck with me with Stu at that time. Stu had a brake lever. It looks like a motorcycle brake lever.
Yeah.
Right. And that stuck to me to this day. And if you notice on some pictures when I wrote for Torker, I have a huge brake lever. A Diacomp mountain bike brake lever.
Wow.
And the reason why is because back in those days they had the little Diacomp brake levers that you could press them 2 or 3 times and they get loose on you.
Yeah,
so you had to keep tight.
Grab it with 2 fingers.
Yeah, and they constantly getting loose, and I couldn't stop. I it wouldn't even slow me down because the brake, it just gets all flimsy.
Yeah.
And so I started running with that big mountain bike brake lever, and that thing was sturdy. You know, it had more leverage. I could just, it's, to me, it worked like a disc brake lever. I mean,
Yeah.
the harder you push down, the slower you go. And so I ran with that for a long time, but a lot of people didn't know that. I didn't even tell Stu that because I got that remembering when I first started racing that big old brake lever he had. But
That's
then
awesome.
I went from Jag team. I didn't even race Jag for like a year. I didn't even race a year. I think it was like 8 or 9 months I raced for those guys.
I got a
And
question
because,
about tag
yeah,
really quick. Tommy, not to interrupt
yeah.
you, but were you involved with the chips thing at all? Because
No, I joined the team after that.
because
It
we
was
had
right
Stanley
after
on,
that.
and Stanley was talking to us about doing the chips thing, and I think the whole Jag team is so legendary, man. And the fact that what was that like just before you go forward, being with these guys? They're just straight legends on the Jag
Yeah,
team.
they were, to me, they were friends. And Chris Hopkins, you got Anthony Sewell, Tanel Henry, uh, Dwayne, we called him Rotor Rooter, that's his nickname. Those guys were making the magazines. I mean, here I
Yeah,
am with Tanel and Anthony, and those guys been in magazines. And here I am, this kid from South Central, just riding the bike, and I got to know these guys, right?
yeah,
And I lived in South Central, which is in the middle. Tanel lived in Linwood, which is
mhm,
to the south side of me, and Anthony lived in Crenshaw District to the north side of me. So I was right in the middle. So Anthony used to come by my house because we couldn't ride our bikes in the streets. We couldn't practice in the streets
Why is that?
because people come by, they shoot at you, or they just steal your bike.
Okay.
wow,
Gunpoint. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but it was pretty rough, really rough. And our bikes were different than everybody else's,
right,
And so Tanel, Anthony used to come by my house, and I drive over to Vanguard Elementary School in LA, South Central. And Tanel used to meet us over there, and we have to practice in the schoolyard hallway after school.
wow,
We used to pick our bikes up, throw them over the fence or whatnot, and practice sprints and everything in the school because no one was there. And this is before all the cameras and all this stuff,
right.
And we used to make a little track, concrete track. The lockers on the left side, and they have a path, and we had to avoid the lockers. And oh my God, we just had so much fun, and we used to do these sprints. I mean, we lived sprints. That's all we
Yeah,
did is sprints. And that's when I started asking Tanel about different parts and everything, and he
yeah,
explained everything to me. He said, "Oh, you got to move your bars up because your bars sit back in your lap too much," and all that. I had no idea,
yeah,
you know. And so, make a long story short, uh, I started doing good at nationals,
right.
really good at top 2, top 3, and that's when I met Donnie Atherton. I met Donnie Atherton at Valley Youth Center,
Oh,
and
factory swing.
my father used to talk to his father. And so Donnie and I became really good friends. And all of a sudden, he just blew up, man. That guy,
Yeah,
he jumped on swim, and he's just gone. He
yeah.
was like he was in a different orbit,
Hmm.
And I was placing second and third to him. I said, I know I could beat him, but he just gets me all the time. And so finally, I started beating him towards the end of my amateur career. I think I won the Race of Champions at the end at the NBA Grand National. I doubled at the the NBA Grand National. I won a Race of Champion race. The NBL Grand National, I won 16 over expert, beat
Yeah.
John Pint, Mark Driscoll, and all those guys. And then I went in the Trophy Dash. And I could not wait to get the magazine to see this. And I get the magazine, and it says Scott Breithaupt won the Trophy Dash. I'm like, what the heck is this? It was a misprint or something like that. Like,
Oh
no, that
no,
was
they
my.
robbed you.
Yeah, exactly. But then when I went pro, I talked to Rennie Roker at Jag at that time. Now, this is what really happened, and this was unexpected. Tanel, I think Tanel came by my house, and then we went by Anthony's house, so I drove up there. So all three of us in my El Camino drove up there.
Yeah.
Now, I went up there to talk to Rennie because I told Rennie I was going pro, and they had something, Anthony and Tanel had something else they wanted to talk to Rennie about. And so I told Rennie that, I don't want to be 20 years old and racing 16 expert. Because I won a couple of trophy dash races with the pro, one pro rider in it, and I wound up beating them. And Tanel and Anthony was telling me that I have the speed to go pro. And so I wanted to go pro. And Rennie said, no, I need you to amateur one more year. I said, I don't want to be amateur one more year. I'm going pro.
Yeah.
And he said, if you go pro, you won't be riding for a Jag anymore. I said, okay, fine. So he said, well, give me back to Jersey.
And guys, it's Danny Pena over from the BMXPERTS Podcast. I'm excited to announce a little partnership we got going on with SkewedRacewear.com with Cindy Partee. Cindy put together the race kits for us that we're going to debut out in Dirty Fest. They look really, really cool. We should be getting those pretty soon. As you can see, here's some examples of what Cindy can do. Now, the cool thing about this is you can get a full-on race kit for about $195. Now, I know there's some great options out there with Troy Lee and, of course, Fly and things like that. But remember, you're going to spend over $200, $250, and you're going to get a blank slate. With Cindy, you can basically tell her exactly what you want. You can put the logos where you want. You can put your name where you want, numbers on the back, fully custom colors, any design you want. We're really, really excited. As you can see, some of the Send It crews already rocking that apparel. So I'm looking forward to getting the kit. If you guys are interested in this, again, it's www.skewedраcewear.com. Reach out to Cindy and she'll get you all hooked up. Thanks a lot, guys.
Your bike. So I gave him back to Jersey, but I had a spare jersey at home. That's the jersey that's hanging up in the Hall of Fame on the wall. And he can't take my bike because I paid for the bike. I bought the bike from the City of Bicycles in Compton.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, he didn't give you a bike. You bought your own bike.
I bought my own bike. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And so Tanel and Anthony, Tanel was talking to Rennie about getting more money or something like that. And, Tanel can explain it better than I can.
Yeah.
Carmen Roca was there and she was so upset. She just got out of the car. Right. Because we was all in Rennie's station wagon. And so now, I think Tanel told him, said, I can't ride for you anymore. I think he was going with Nomura.
Okay, I've heard of
Tuni
that.
was going to ride, Tuni was going to ride for Nomura because they gave him a better deal. Then Anthony came in and said, hey, look, I can't do this. I got to make more money, this and that. And Anthony said, I quit. So all three of us quit Jag Team at the same time. Had no idea that was going to happen.
And you guys didn't talk about it on the way up there like, hey, I'm quitting today. I'm quitting today.
No. Did not know at all. So all three of us quit at the same time.
Whoa, you guys bottomed the team out right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, were you running the Jag with the gusset, or had they got rid of the gusset just without the gusset at this point?
I had the gusset.
Okay, all right.
I had the loop tail one.
All
yeah. The one without the gusset. That's when Paul Goswell and all those guys, Brian and other guys joined the team, Jason Jensen. Then Wendy decided to go a different way.
What kind of guy was Rennie? He seems like he was he loved the sport for one, right? And he did everything he could to promote it. I mean, guys like that are hard to find, I think.
It is because he was in the TV and everything. So the guy he could sell ice water to an Eskimo. I mean, the guy was awesome. Rennie, on the other hand, he would say, hey, I need you to do this. Try to do this for us, And you go out there and try, and he'll pat you on the back sometimes, a good deal. But his main focus was promoting, getting sponsors in the sport. And he's the first one that got outside sponsors into our sport. Coca-Cola, Tom McCann. He had all these big sponsors coming in.
Right.
And I mean, a lot of freaking money was coming into.
Please tell me you didn't have to ride a Tom McCann shoes.
I rode Tom McCann shoes for a little bit.
I did because I saw you guys doing it. So I had a pair of
Yeah, we
white
did.
ones.
Yeah. I wrote a couple of pictures I have on my wall in the hallway. I had Tom McCann's shoes on. But that's the shoes that we had to wear
Yeah.
Do you think,
at the
Tommy,
time.
with I think with what Rainey did is still unmatched to this day.
Yeah.
The way he promoted and the ESPN series, the Jag World Champion.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, yeah, we could see racing on YouTube and it's streaming all over the place, but we have more access to it. But I don't think it's ever reached that level that you're describing right now.
It was the Jet. He started the World Championship. He was working with Garrett Doge from Europe. He'd come over here and really, those guys talk and say, hey, we could have this international race.
Yeah.
And Rennie just took that and ran with it. And Rennie had all the connections because of his TV deals. And he had outside sponsors coming in. Now he needs to get a sanctioned body. So I think he got together with the ABA or NBL at the time. And they thought it was a great idea. So, I mean, all the big sponsors coming in that never had came in before. And so the first official World Championship was in 1978, which I did not go to because I just started racing then. But that following year, I was on the JAG team and I went to the World Championship, and that was the biggest race I ever been to. It was just massive.
Wow.
I mean, we had 330 seconds in our open classes. You know, it was just massive, big.
Wow.
And it was so cool. It was so exciting that the hotel we stayed in is nothing but BMX racers.
Yeah.
Is there. Just nothing. All the hotels around that the convention center that we was racing is nothing but BMXers. It
That's
was just it was just so much fun.
I got a couple images, Tommy, I want to share with you really quick, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. All right, so this is BMX Action 1985 Murray World Cup, and a very rare picture of you crushing
On the cruiser. That's on the
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that framed in my wall. That bike, I don't know if it's Kevin Hall's bike or Dean LeBurge's bike. I gotta tell you a story about the cruiser.
All right.
Yeah, that's cool. I told Doc Schofield, was our team manager, I said, I'm gonna race cruiser. And he said, well, you never raced the cruiser. I said, I ran it once, I think it was, and I didn't like it. All right. And the Murray World Cup, that race, for some reason, I would do all the way great until the main event, and something always happens. Always happens. And so that year I said, I'm gonna race 3 classes. Right. And so
Was
I didn't want to build a cruiser.
Was it the money that did it? Because it's the Murray World Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, because you get 10 grand for first place.
Ooh.
Right. Five grand or 10 grand for first place, can't recall. But it was a lot of money. But the contingencies were surpass what you make in the pro in your pro class, in the pro purse. And so I ran the first moto, I ran Kevin Hall's bike.
Okay.
The second moto, I ran Dean LeBurge's bike. Okay, now Kevin bike, I could ride easy because his gear is kind of easy like mine, my 20 inch.
Yeah.
Dean LeBurge ran like the hardest gear you could have on the bike.
Oh, no.
That's the way he rode.
Yeah.
And I jumped on his bike, and I'm not kidding you. It felt like my back popped coming out of the gate because I'm straining so much trying to get this thing moving. I was shocked I was in the lead in this thing.
In that image of you racing, are you on Dean's bike or are you on Kevin's bike?
I can't recall. I think that was Kevin's bike, I believe.
Yeah.
I think that was Kevin's bike.
That's a
I have to ask Kevin. I have to
Yeah,
ask Kevin.
I found
Did you win the race?
What's that?
Did you win the $5 grand?
No, heck no. I wound up taking third in the pro money class that year, I think it was. Yeah. And then one year, the first time they had it, I was leading the pro class until the second jump when Brian tripled. I wound up, just when I hit the ground, I saw pedaling, the bike just looped out on me. I ride for Power Light.
Okay.
And the second year, I came, and I don't know what happened the second year. I just blew up. the second year. And like, I keep thinking this track has just got me. I can't get it dialed in.
Yeah.
And I remember the second to last one I was at a rifle GT, 85. I rode for GT, and I wound up going down in the Pro Open and rung my bell. And Doc Scoville said, "You're not racing.
Oh, wow.
'Cause you're not racing because you can't tell me who's the president or whatever." Like I was jacked up, and I'm sitting in staging. He came and got me, told me to sit down, so I sit down, and I was like, "The hell with this," I made the main. I'm going up there, right? So I
Yeah.
went up there. And they started announcing us. And I remember Dr. Schofield stood right in front of me on the starting gate. And
Right.
he told Bill Tedesco that Tommy can't race. He's unable to race. And I was determined to race, and he stood right in front of me. And when that gate dropped, I didn't go anywhere because he's right there in front of me.
Oh, no
And
way.
so, yeah. And so I was so upset. I went back to the pits. I didn't race the rest of the day. I couldn't because, equilibrium was off. I couldn't, balance
Yeah.
was all tweaked out. And so I made a pact to myself. I said, next year, I'm gonna make the main. I'm gonna win this damn race. That year, the following year came, and I wound up taking third behind Pete and Ronnie. Ronnie won it. Pete got second. I got third, and I was happy with that.
Right.
But that was the only track that I felt that I could have won, no problem. And I had 3 or 4 chances to do it and couldn't do it.
Looking back on it, Tommy, do you think that Doc Schofield did the right thing for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Because you could have
Because
got
the reason why is because, have you guys been to the track now since they had it? The new style of track.
Yesterday.
Well, the track right now obviously is all asphalt.
Yeah.
Well, they're starting halfway down the hill when we were starting way up there by the back fence. You can actually see. Excuse me. You can actually see where the old starting gate was
Oh, wow.
compared to where they are right now. And I went up there a few years back. They was having a national, and I know one of the pros was saying that he came up to me and said, "Oh, you Tommy Brack?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Is it true that you guys were starting back up there?" It's like, "Yeah." He said, "If you go up there, you can actually see where they bolted the starting gate to the concrete."
Yeah, it's still
He
there,
said,
right?
"Yeah, it's still there." And he said, "You guys was nuts." I said, "We're nuts? You guys are nuts. You guys are clipped in. You can't put your foot out. If you guys slide, you can't do anything but just crash. At least when
Right.
we slide, we could put our foot out for balance, you could catch yourself." I said, "That's crazy."
Well,
I got
I have a question. I have a question for both you guys, and
Yeah.
I honestly don't know the answer. In the history of BMX, what was the biggest purse that you ever heard of Tommy or Danny? What was the biggest payout that you've ever heard of anybody getting, or you guys or pros back in the 80s were racing for? Do you have any idea what the biggest purse was?
Yeah, Murray World Cup.
Murray World Cup.
Yeah, I think
I was
like
gonna say Murray
30,000.
World Cup.
Yeah, $30,000 or something like that. $30,000 or $50,000, some crazy crap like that. Yeah.
My God,
That's
man.
insane.
Yeah, but you also have to
That's
think about that was
insane.
in the 80s. That was in the 80s.
Yeah.
That was a lot of
That's
money.
probably equivalent. Yeah, that's like 150 grand now. You know what I mean? If you kind
that
of
was a lot of money
out.
back then. Yeah.
But that was split up. That's not, or that was the guy, the pro 150
The
or
pro
the
one,
money.
I would have to say it's the Murray World Cup. The $5,000 for first place. I
Okay.
think 2,500 for second. I think. Excuse me. Come on, guys. I think it was the Murray World Cup. Because you also have to remember the contingencies back then was pretty big. You get the contingency from your sponsors, your main sponsor, plus all the contingencies from your co-sponsors.
So you were making a good living racing pro.
Oh
back
yeah. Oh God, yeah. Heck yeah.
You were living the dream.
Yeah, kind of in a sense.
Yeah.
it's different. 'Cause I tell people today, they ask me, how was it like, or what was it like back in when you was racing? I said, just imagine you're in your early 20s and you wake up in the morning and you think about what I'm going to do today.
Yeah.
Who I'm going to ride with today. Um, it was something else. I used to, think about that all the time. It's like we had the best of time back in
Yeah.
those days. It was just the best of time. It was just surreal. Here's a 20-year-old something racing bikes and making more money than the average family out there. We get
That's
that.
insane. That's
Yeah.
insane. I love to hear that because we grew up watching you guys, and I know the money's not what it should be in today's sport, and which is a shame because these guys are super athletes, And
Yeah,
Kevin, you were
yeah.
just at a national yesterday, so you could see the level that these kids could ride. But it's insane to know that you guys made the money you did, and I know it wasn't everybody. There's a small percentage of people that get to the level that you were at, but
Yeah.
still, it's pretty awesome. I have a question for you that's related to Anthony Sewell, and I want to get your honest opinion on it. Okay?
Sure.
Okay, so if you look at this image of Anthony for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so Anthony looks like to be on an actual Murray. I don't know what he was riding, but his bike seemed to be set up all incorrect.
It is set up all incorrect. That's the way he rolled.
How the hell did he go so fast with his bike like that?
I don't. It just. I'm glad you brought that up, Danny, because his bike was his bike wasn't set up correctly at all.
Right.
I worked on it a couple of times. He put together a bike and he just leave things kind of crooked or something like. He didn't care. He just he go out there, especially on concrete tracks.
Yeah, yeah.
He was like unstoppable on concrete tracks. But Safety Cycle was helping him out. City of Bicycles was helping him out build his bike and everything because, he knew how to put the gear on and all that stuff, but, adjusting the chain and adjusting his bars and all that, he didn't know how to do that too well. Sometimes the bars look like it was in his lap. He go out there, he still win.
Yeah, I'm like, it probably has something to do with the insane shape the guy was in. Hey, golly.
That picture, Danny,
Yeah.
I remember Jeff Kosmala came up to me and he said, "What's making you guys so fast?" And you remember that the fad back then was pop locking?
Yeah, yeah.
Anthony was really good at pop locking. So Anthony used to tell me and told Jeff Kosmala that, how he works out is pop lock a lot. He's stand in front of a mirror and do all this pop lock. He used to say, "I don't get on my bike, I just dance a lot." And Jeff looked at me. He looked at me like, "Dude, I don't have nothing for you, man. I don't dance, so I don't know."
Hey, Danny, wasn't it Greg that said that Anthony raced with his bars crooked?
Crooked, yeah, he did.
Yeah, he said his Jofa was crooked, his bars were crooked, but he was fast as hell. Like, I'd seen him in magazines, obviously, and I would look at his bike going, "Is that actually a Murray? What is he riding?" And
I don't
it
know
was
what
like
bikes he was riding, but his bike was the seat post was loose. His brakes caliper was rubbing on one side, but he went out there and he raced. I used to work on his bike at races. I said, I got to fix your bike, man. So I go down there and fix it and everything else.
Yeah.
And I said, "How was that?" He said, "Oh, that's good. That's everything was good to him. You can put the bar to his lap or the stem up way up high. How is it? It's good." He would run, and he's the only guy that I know that can do that.
Right.
Yeah, and Greg Hill was right. Greg used to ask me sometimes, how do you do it? I have no idea, man, but he's doing it.
Yeah, nice, man.
It's just pure athleticism. I mean, he was just so athletic. He could just make anything go fast, I'm assuming, because that's just crazy.
Yeah, he was in great shape. But that guy was just super fast on concrete. I recall.
I did see that. Like, there was a matter of fact, Tommy, this is funny you brought that up because I'm watching the 81 Jag World Championships. It's on concrete and ramps.
Yeah.
$5,000 for first place, $100 for eighth.
Yeah.
And Anthony got out quick, man. He got the whole shot and he blew up in the first turn because it was so slippery.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, I go, dang, that was a $4,900 crash.
Yeah, that's the truth, but you can't take it back. And I recall talking to Anthony about that,
Yeah.
and he said, "Yeah, I just had a great start, and I went into the corner and couldn't hold on to it."
Did you experience that, Tommy, racing on the concrete a lot, or was that just not your era?
No, I raced amateur on concrete. I
Okay.
raced the Jaguar Championship or the Rondo. As a matter of fact,
Okay.
I raced my first concrete race was at the NBA Grand National at the LA Sports Arena
Oh,
back
wow.
then. And Sewell won the trophy dash, and it was a 10-foot tall trophy that they was giving away.
Jesus.
And he wound up winning that. And he won all of the indoor races back then. I mean, he was just unstoppable.
That's crazy because I know when I was watching that, the speed you guys were carrying into those wooden jumps was nuts. There's nowhere to go, and everybody was slipping and falling.
Yeah,
So
the faster you go in the wooden jumps, the easier they are.
Oh, really?
Because the transition from flat to the angle is like doom doom, and then you're going so fast you could just glide over the top of it and hit the backside.
So you weren't trying to speed jump it at all. You were just hang on.
You have to hit it. You have to hit it. Okay, if you try to speed jump it, they were too high to kind of speed jump.
Yeah.
Your back tire hit the top of it. The other side is concrete.
What I was going to ask you is going back to another. So I'm going to jump a little bit because I want to catch up on questions.
That's cool.
The first time you see yourself in a magazine, let's say they run an ad for Power Light, and there's one of
Vegas.
And you look perfect in that shot, right? How did that hit you, dude? When you open the magazine, you go, "Holy crap, that's me!" And I'm in BMX Action or BMX Plus. That ad was being ran. How did you feel about it?
I'm glad you asked that. It was over the moon. I said, I can't believe I made the magazine. My first shot ever in a magazine was BMX Plus, and it was at Las Vegas National, NBA National. I think my number was 261X.
Okay.
And I was racing for the bike shop, North Hollywood, the pedal shop, Larry Hoffman's shop.
Yeah.
And I won the 16 expert class, and I beat Donnie Atherton. And at the time, I think it was Tony Aguilera. It was Mike Aguilera, older brother, I believe, at the time. And I beat all those guys. And Tom Jacobson was the hot guy in Vegas. He rode for Robinson.
Okay.
And I beat all those guys. And about a couple of weeks later, I think the magazine that came out, a month later, magazine came out, and Bob Smith and his mom had showed me the magazine, I think. He said, "Hey, you made the magazines." And I went out and bought like 3 or 4 copies of that magazine.
Exactly.
And just looking at it and just reading the little captions, I said, "Oh, I finally made the magazine." After all this time, I've been wanting to get into magazines, and finally made it in. And from that moment on, like, okay, I'm set. I'm good.
You hit it. Was that did that feeling ever go away? Because
no,
the more popular you got, the more coverage you got. I mean, Tom, you were always in the magazines. So it didn't wear off? You were still excited?
It didn't wear off because to me, I look at it that I must be doing something right, because the fact that people are paying attention now, even the photographers. And I got really close with John Kerr and Osborne, Bob, and Wendy, and Gork, all those guys. Steve Giberson was working for him, and we were friends. We were talking. Mike Aguilera, he used to work for BMX Plus,
right?
And we used to sit down and talk to him. Talk to Bob. Bob used to come in, "Hey, what do you guys think? What do you guys think?" He'd get our opinions about things, and I thought that was just the coolest thing. Here we are talking to the people who's taking pictures of us, and writing stories about us, you know. And I'm gonna tell you a little story about John Kerr from BMX Plus.
Okay.
John used to come in staging with us when the pros back there, and we just talk just to be talk, you know, goofing around. And John used to listen, and then he'd go take a picture and he'd write a little story. You know, well, Tommy Brackens said this about this. And like, holy cow, dude, you just trying to just start up something. I'm like, no. So I've been watching John. You know, when he comes around, like, I'm just tight lip. I know, you know, I don't like to talk about John because John would use it against you to make a good story about it. You know, like, no, you know, so I'm picking up on these little things what the guys in the magazine used to do.
That's what Miranda told Kevin. He said, "You're like the Jerry Springer of BMX. I got to be careful what I say around you."
I took a compliment. I was happy.
Speaking of Miranda, I got another question.
Mike, my twin.
Okay, so here's the thing. I know from what I've heard, and because I've listened to a lot of your interviews, so as soon as I know you're on, I listen, right? Yeah. And I go, I know for a fact that you had all the speed. Mike had all the jumping ability, and he tried to train you on the jumping. So this is going to make...
He did. He didn't try. He did.
So if this guy says, "Hey, man, I'm going to teach you how to jump," I'd probably lose my mind, dude. Wasn't that... I mean, look how rad this guy is.
Yeah,
I mean, that's nuts.
His bike handling was just outrageous. I mean, it was just...
Where was this at? Did you ever ride?
I wasn't going to do that. Now, if I would have done that, I'm crashing. You know, I slipped the pedal or something. It's like, no, I recall, and this is true, that when Mike and I, let me back it up a little bit. Now, the best sponsorship I had was Powerlight.
Okay.
Steve Rink. Great guy. I mean, he kept his word, helped me out a great deal. Love his whole family. You know, Mark Rink's a little punk, but anyway, Mark is cool. Well, Mark's cool. He's like my little brother.
Hey, Tommy, Mark emailed me 2 days ago and said he knew you were coming on, and he told me that you were his dad's favorite rider of all time.
Yeah. It was. I mean, because I grew up. It seemed like I grew up with Steve and Mark, with their and their mom. I grew up with them in a sense. Although, I lived in South Central, but I grew up with them. Mark, God, he used to tease me at the races. Right here, I am. I'm having a great day. Right, I'm beating Stewart, beating Greg, and all those guys. Got the gate down and got the whole track down. And Mark would come in and say, "Yeah, you beat him, but you're not beating him by a lot. You suck." You know, but that's what Mark and I used to didn't say anything to him, but he was pumping me up in a sense. Okay, I'm gonna go out there and beat the crap out of him now. You know, and I come back like, "How was that?" "Oh, you got lucky." You know, if he had something to say every single time I asked him a question like, "How was that?" You wasn't that good. You know, Stu slipped the pedal or something like that. Like, what the crap? So I couldn't do anything right in front of Mark. But then again, I was doing it, but he was pushing me to go further and further and further. You know, and at that time, I said, I can't, this guy is not giving me what I'm looking for in my mind. Right. But out on the racetrack, he's giving me everything that I needed by saying that, you know, what Greg was on you, or Stu, or Britt Patterson was going to, Kevin McNeil's doing better. He's caught you over his corner. Why did Kevin McNeil catch you over there? Because you're too slow over there, you know? And so in my mind, I'm keeping that in my mind. So, okay, I was going slow here. I need to pick it up again, you know, right?
Yeah.
You know, but he always come back. If I win, I got lucky. You know, okay, I got lucky a lot then.
Hey, Danny, did you catch that epic quote that Tommy just said?
Which one?
He didn't give me what I wanted, but he gave me what I needed, man.
Oh, I like that. That'll be the title of the show.
I'm going to use that with my kids. I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm going to give you what you need.
And getting back to Mike in '84, Mike and I signed a contract with Torker. Yeah. And Magoo and Mike McLaughlin had an apartment in Cinnamon Ridge Apartments in Fullerton. And we were like maybe a half a mile from Twerker, from those
Right.
apartments. And so we signed a contract. Boom, we teammates, moved out of the house and everything, got in our apartment. And so we raced a few times. And I don't know if I said it or Mike said it. He said, no, I think what Mike said. He said, Tommy, teach me how to go faster. And I said, well, teach me how to jump.
Yeah.
Done deal. Okay, now Parks is around. Yeah, you guys heard of Parks.
Yeah.
Okay, now Parks was the riding area that, Stu goes through sometimes. Harry Larry goes through sometimes. Clint Miller. All the top guys goes over there. In top amateurs goes over there and practice. And so Mike and I would go over there and we spend all day over there.
Wow.
And so it was a set of doubles coming out of a turn they were steep when you approach it, steep. They weren't that far, but they was really steep. So you had to go up in the air and come right back down on the backside. I mean, you angling down.
Yeah.
And Mike was doing all this stuff. I'm like, how in the hell he's doing this? So Mike's telling me, hey, your body position, your pedal position, don't hit it so fast. And so I started jumping and like, oh, this is not that bad. And they had a set of doubles past that. And I'm hitting that, no problem. But then I started hitting it faster and faster and faster. And Mike said, you don't have to hit it that fast. I said, I have to hit it that fast because when I'm racing, I want to hit it at race speed.
At speed. You're right. Right.
Yeah. And so I kept hitting it faster and faster and faster. And Mike he's like, dang. So now I'm hitting all the jumps like that. And so at the end of the day, 'cause we ride for hours. I mean, hours. Go there in the morning, we come back in the afternoon, just rest up, go back over there again. And so now Mike said, now you could teach me how to go faster. I said, okay. So we rode at Parks. We go back to the apartment. But before we go back to the apartment, I said, now it's time to do sprints. In the back of Cinnamon Ridge apartment, it's like a slight hill. It goes up like this.
Yeah.
Now, when you're tired, that hill is like this.
Yeah.
And so we went out there and started doing sprints. Rest on the way back down, turn around, sprint up again. We do that about 5 or 6 times,
Yeah.
and until we was like almost puking. So so now we go back, but we were doing that every other day. And so finally he started to beat me going up the hill a few times.
Wow.
Like, God, you're getting stronger, Mike, And so he won the 2 biggest races, I think, in '84. I know he won the Murray World Cup and he won some other international race.
Yeah.
And I seen his whole attitude, and he had confidence in himself. He knows he could jump. That's a given. Now he has speed. The other riders didn't know he had the speed because they know he's a jumper. But he proved when he won the Murray World Cup. I mean, he was on top of the world, And from that moment on, he knew exactly what he needed to do. But we fed off each other.
Yeah.
We always feed off each other, and we always was together. We used to go riding from our apartment in Fullerton. We used to ride our bikes to Disneyland and back. Then we used to go to Centennial where Greg Hill trained. We ride over there and watch Greg ride. We go riding a little bit, and then we go back to the apartment, rest up and think about what we're going to do. We go out ride with Stuart in Riverside someplace,
Dude, can you believe that, Kevin? Can you even imagine having that life, dude? To like, I'm going to ride over to Greg Hill's house. Then we're going to ride
do starts. Yeah, we rode over to Greg Hill's house, do starts.
No.
Yeah, but that was the thing. Greg doesn't know this. I don't know if it's true or not. I didn't ask Greg, but he's going to watch this podcast.
Yeah.
Years ago, Chris Moeller come up to me. He said, "Hey, Tommy, when you was living in Costa Mesa, when you worked for GT?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Were you going to the beach like every weekend when you're not racing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I used to go there and do sprints. I used to ride the track guys or the road bike guys. You get on the bike trail at the beach."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I sprint with them until I can't keep up with them, right?
Yeah.
Then I catch with the road bike guys, 2 or 3, 4 or 5 in the pack. I'm in the pack with them, spinning my brains out, right? Keeping up with them.
Who's this guy?
So those guys get faster and faster. I'm getting faster and faster until I can't do it anymore, right?
Right,
But
right.
I rest up, and I was doing that back and forth. Chris Muller said, "You know what? I don't know if it's true or not. Greg could verify this. He was saying that Greg went out there because he was wondering what in the hell you were doing because you gotten so fast,
Yeah.
right? Speed wise. I said, well, Greg didn't have to spy on me, nothing like that. He could just come out there, call me up, we go out there and ride. It wasn't no big secret.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I rode with Stuart all the time. You know, we just get together and just ride. It was just fun. You know, but at the same time, it was training too.
Yeah.
That's so awesome that you're training, and then I would think it would be awesome, but maybe not. Like, then you have to race the guy, and he's taking money out of your pocket.
Well,
and the next race, like, I don't know, man, if that's good or bad.
Well, we didn't really think about it that way because the fact is that if I beat you or Greg beat me, that means I have to work harder and train harder.
Right.
You know, and so it was a lot of back and forth, a lot. I mean, I practiced with Lakarovich, with Pete.
Yeah.
His in Costa Mesa, his grandmother lived right behind the complex that I was in, and so I used to go ride with him. Come by his house, and he's over at his grandmother's house doing starts. So I go to do starts with him.
Wow.
You know, yeah, we just picked a guy, Milwee. I remember vividly, Danny Milwee had a starting gate with a timer on it, and Kevin Hall was staying over there with Mill. No, Kevin was staying with me,
Yeah.
and we used to go over there. And the Rob Fay show ups every now and then. Peter show up, and we were doing gate starts. We took about 20 or 30 gate starts, and we check our time and see how we were doing on time. We set our pedal up higher, set it lower, and see where our sprint time about 10 yards, 15 yards out, right?
And you guys were doing this right on the street? It was right on the street?
We was in Danny's Milwee driveway, and Kevin is standing out there by the street and let us know when the car is coming. So we'll stop, okay, set up. But that's the way we were doing it, right?
Awesome.
And it was just a sprint. And we used to keep charts down and everything. And I remember Rich Long called me in the GT. Never gonna forget this. It was Bercy in '85. He said, "Tommy, this probably is going to be the biggest race you're ever going to race." He said, "This is big. This is really, really big.
Yeah.
TV, radio, and all that stuff."
Yeah.
Right. And he said, "We really need this race." And he told me this a couple of weeks beforehand.
Yeah.
And man, that's when I just like, okay. And he said something to me. I don't know if I should say it now, but he had said that to me, that if you win this race, I get you a vet.
No.
Right. This is in '85. And so I went out there, I trained, spent, I was eating stay away from bread. I lost probably like about 2 or 3 pounds, but it was just muscle.
Yeah.
Right. And I just felt I wasn't getting tired as quickly as I would have, normally.
Right.
And man, that race came, man, and I won the first 2 mains. In the second main, I got 4th.
Yeah.
And I remember I didn't say nothing to anybody. I didn't want to jinx it. So it was big. I mean, really big. That was the biggest race. And Greg probably could back me up too. That probably was the biggest race I ever raced, spectator wise. I mean, the stadium was just 12,000, 15,000 people. It just covered with people. And I seen signs up there for their favorite riders,
Yeah.
and all that. And
because Mike said the same thing. He said that was because I asked Mike, what's the most memorable race? He goes straight to Bercy. I asked Greg. Greg says the same thing, Bercy. It's like you guys experienced something that was probably never going to be duplicated. But the track was soggy and not that great. That's what I'm
let me see. The year that I raced, it was hard packed.
Okay.
I raced '85, it was hard packed. '86, it was like riding on a sponge. You didn't even have to use your brakes. I mean, it was just so spongy. And I did crappy that in '86, but that was the best race. I mean, it was huge.
Yeah.
And couldn't wait to get back to GT to Rich Long, but this had nothing to do with Gary Turner. Nothing to do with Gary Turner. And he had. I sat down. I was excited. I looked at. He had a poster of the Corvettes, the first Corvette and the last Corvette they ever made. You know, I was looking at that. So, oh, you want your Corvette? Like, yeah. He pulled out this little toy Corvette and said, "That's your Corvette."
Oh,
I'm like, what? He said, yeah. He said, oh, you thought I was going to give you a real Corvette? He said, no, I was going to give you a Corvette. And I'm like,
what?
okay. And that was it. And from that moment on, it was just strictly business with Rich and Gary. And Gary, I could sit down and talk to because he raced cars. I was racing cars before I got to, to race bikes and everything. And from that moment on, I didn't talk to Rich that much from that moment on.
Yeah.
It was just a sour taste in my mouth after that. And
Wow.
that's the downside on some of these sponsorships because people think that it's all this glitter and glamour and all this stuff. I said, but you put in your work and you can have a lot of ups and downs and you can be worried about your sponsorship later, if you don't do that good in 2 or 3 races. Because they do pay attention. What's going on. So you have to be on top of your game every freaking single race.
Wow, the Corvette.
That story is crazy. He got a toy.
Yeah, I didn't. Recently. That's why I say that this has nothing to do with Gary Turner. Gary Turner's in the clear. This is between Rich and myself. And Greg had a really good relationship with Rich.
Yeah.
But different people had different relationship with sponsors,
Right.
And unfortunately, everything was rosy when I was winning with GT and everything. But when it comes down to him, he paid me good. He paid me great. I mean, I made a lot of money. But when he told me that, and I put in the effort and hard work to achieve that, and to get slapped in the face like that was like just absolutely devastating for me.
You gave up bread, man. Oh my God. You went to
the ultimate sacrifice.
the ultimate sacrifice. You gave up bread. That's messed up.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
But that was between me and Rich.
You got the world championship, Tommy, and I listened to the quick interview. You crossed the finish line, and I think the first thing you said was, "It hasn't soaked in yet."
Yeah, it hasn't sunk in yet.
Yeah,
I remember that vivid. I remember all the motos. I remember everything of that race because and also I'm gonna tell you something else is that Eric Carter, which is my little brother, Eric Carter said something to me that he noticed that I don't think no one else did.
Yeah.
But he noticed it, and I like, he's right. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That track, it wasn't a hard track.
Right.
It was not a hard track. The last corner, it had these odd jumps. They was really steep. You couldn't really jump them because if you try to jump, your front end will wash out.
Right.
Because you're actually turning and trying to hit the jump, And I was having problems. I was braking really hard, trying to take the inside, but it throws my balance off.
Right.
So the first time I done that, I got second behind Sean Texas. And I said, okay.
Sean was looking good that race.
Yeah, he was.
He
was.
I was going to say that, yeah.
But I knew I could pull him down the first race. I wasn't too worried about it. I was worried about Sean coming into me. But he can't come into me because the lanes that European has, like what they have right now, you can't cross that line. So they can't come close to you. They can't bump you. So you have to stay in your line. So I knew I had a great chance. I knew I could outpower Sean down the straight.
Right.
And so the second main had a great start. Going to the first corner, hit the little jump, drop down. Going to the second corner, I didn't have a big enough lead over Gary.
Right.
And so I went to the corner again, but I went a little bit too slow, and then Gary passed me on the outside.
Okay.
So I said, okay, if I just play second, I'm still good. And so the third main, I knew exactly where everybody was, point-wise.
Yeah.
And I had a plan to where that if I'm in first, this is going to happen. If I'm in second, this is going to happen. If I'm in third, I'm going to try this. And so when that gate dropped, I just took off. I just later though, guys. And Carter was saying, Eric said, I know exactly what you were doing, Tommy. I was like, what was that? He said, you would get way out in front, and then you get to the last corner, you slow it really down, slow it down to get over to the jumps, then you get on the gas again. I'm like, you the only one that told me that. You the only one that figured it out. He's the only one that figured it out. And I watched Eric Carter in some of the nationals and the trouble spots I was having in some of the races back home.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching him, and Harry said the same thing. Yeah, I used to do that. And then Mike said the same thing because Eric was smooth.
Yeah.
Like, how in the hell is getting around these corners so fast? And I figured out he hit the brake, he'd tap the brakes a bit, not get on him, but he not drag him, he'd tap him.
Yeah.
And just tap it, just break that top speed. As pros, they get in, they always ride them.
Right.
But summer race, like you have to tap them.
Yeah, because his I was just listening to Eric talk. They were just talking to Steve on their show, and Steve was talking about Eric's cornering, how good it was. And
oh yeah, man, everything is geez.
And I've reviewed so many races, and one of the things I always comment on is like, damn, you don't want Eric behind you because he's going to figure out a way to pass you,
Yeah.
And I've seen it over and over and over again. I go, God, that guy was good at passing people.
Yeah, because it's for Eric. The best spot is for him. It is in second place because now the first place doesn't know the first guy up there. He doesn't know where Eric's going to pass. If he knows Eric's behind him, he's thinking about Eric, and Eric just zip right by him every single time. Every single time.
Was it your strategy as a pro racer to just get the whole shot, just pull? Because your first straight is probably what you're most legendary for. Yeah. So is that what you were thinking? I'm like, I just got to get in front. Once I'm in front, that's a wrap. Was that
once I'm in the front, not unless they crash you. And it's been several times that guys get I'm in front. Next thing Brian Patches come in and bump me or just ride me out. He tried to ride me out and I lose all my momentum, and he takes off. It leaves me just stranded up there. So does Ronnie. Because that was my nemesis was Ronnie, and I know what he was doing. It's just the fact that ABA let him get away with a lot of things. Yeah. And there's been a few races that Pete and I had with Ronnie where that's like, hey, Pete and I back in stage and say, hey, Pete, if you're in front or if I'm in front, if Ronnie come in and screws us up, we need to go down and have these guys, hey, look at Ronnie. This is what he's doing, and you guys let him get away with it. And Ronnie knows he got away with a lot. Ronnie Anderson, he's a talented racer.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy has it all. Him and his brother has it all. He doesn't need to do that.
I look at Ronnie and I think of Dennis Rodman when he was on the Bulls.
Yeah.
And Dennis had this mental warfare that he would do to he could get under other players' skin.
Yeah.
And throw them way off their game. And people go, oh, crazy Ronnie this, crazy Ronnie that. I go, I don't know, man. I think he knew how to push people's buttons and get you off your game, and that's what he would do. At least that's my opinion this is from a spectator point of view, remember, because I never raced pro. So I don't know if you agree with me on that, Kevin. What do you think about that?
I'm sure. I'm sure it was definitely a for sure.
Yeah, he was doing that on purpose, and I knew it. I just don't like it when someone come in on you and just crowd you out on purpose.
Oh yeah,
it's competition, but I'm the type of person I won't crash you or anything. I just flat out try to beat you.
Right.
But when someone that keeps doing it, I got to put a stop to it because he's going to keep doing it regardless.
I got one more question for you, Tommy, and then I'm gonna let Kevin go from here. I don't know, Kevin. I don't know if we have much time to do trivia because we talked long, but I got
probably not. I got stuff. I got appointments. But yeah.
All right.
Got a point.
For 1984, Tommy, I want you to tell me if the Olympics was a BMX sport at the time. You could pick 4 riders to go to the Olympics for the U.S. and 1 alternate. This is a tough question. And I meant to ask this to Greg and all the other guys, and I always forget to ask it. So I'm going to ask you.
84, we weren't in the Olympics.
Well, I know it wasn't, but I'm saying if it was. If it was, and you could pick 4 pros to go and 1 alternate. So, I mean, you're going to pick 5 riders. Who are the 5 riders you think you're going to send to the Olympics?
Greg Hill, Stu Thompson, Brian Patterson. In 83, 5 riders. Those are 3.
Those are good choices already. You got Stu, you got Greg, you got Brian.
Brian. Probably. I don't know, but that was one for pilot. I was still learning. So, well, you always learn, but I wasn't confident enough. You know, I wasn't at that peak.
What do you think about? Do you think Anthony goes?
I would have to say Anthony, possibly.
What about the Diamondback guys? Eddie or Harry? Do you think one of them are going to go, or do you pick somewhere else?
If I go, probably have to go with Eddie, because if Eddie gets us on the streak, he's really good. I mean, he proved that in the ESPN series.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
That's a wrap, dude.
It's a wrap.
No, I'm saying is for your team. The only thing in '83, I would look at Clint too.
Yeah, Clint Miller. Clint
won the world championship in '83.
Yeah, we did up in Holland. Yeah, well, I think that was Holland. He won it in.
This is an ESPN race. There was the finals in Johnstown, PA. I'll name off these names and let's see if it helps a little bit. Harry Larry, Eddie King, Anthony Sewell, Greg Hill, Brian Patterson, John Pyant, Scott Clark, Greg Grubbs. There's a lot of big names in there. Brian Patterson, we already mentioned. Eric Roop. We almost forgot about Eric.
Eric Roop, yeah.
Toby Henderson.
Eric Roop was, I think, me personally, Eric, for his size, he's one of the best. One of the best.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I would say the best.
Yeah. And he won't even take you out. He just go right by you. It's like, see ya. Seriously.
I think I'm going to panel that. Kevin, we need to panel that question on Facebook.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
1983, 1984, you pick 4 top pros, 1 alternate. Who's going to go? It's almost impossible. And Tommy, it's impossible.
You have like 15 guys in there that could win. I mean, I mean, all of them are good.
Who would be the team captain?
Oh, I'm going to pick Greg.
I would pick Scott Brydock.
Oh, would you really?
Well, does a team captain have to ride, or is he just a team captain?
Are you saying team manager or team captain?
Either one. Does the team captain ride?
I would. In most sports, you always have a captain, and that's a player. So
team manager.
Ooh, team manager.
The guy picking the team. The guy who picks the team is Scott.
Yeah, Scott. He can be. That's a hard one. Sandy Finkelman.
Yeah, you got Sandy, and you got oh my gosh, you can pick a lot of the factory team managers. They were all.
You have Doc Schofield. It's really, really tough.
I should have asked you that. I said, when you come on the show, Tommy, I want you to put some thought into this, because I've racked my brain on it.
That's a really, really good question. Really good question, because you will have at least half the guys I just mentioned in that group.
Yeah.
And the other half it's going to be different people.
Right, right. Everybody has their
I mean, that's a really good question.
I think you could mix it up, Tommy. I definitely have you in there. with all the first straight speed, you gotta be in there.
Maybe.
My last question for you, and I guess we can end the show with this, is that I've asked Billy Griggs and I've asked Greg Hill this question, and they both had the same. Ironically, they both had the same answer. What's the sketchiest thing you've ever done on a bike? And I would assume it's gonna be GPV, but I thought I'd hear from your mouth yourself. What's the sketchiest thing you've ever done on a bike?
riding wise,
Yeah.
GPV.
GBV.
GPV. It's hard to beat
because
that. That's scary stuff, man.
it's because the reason why is because here you are on a BMX bike. It's not designed to go 50, 80, 100 miles an hour. Especially with the hubs that you're running. You know, it's not designed for it. And here you are doing it. The tires and tubes are not designed to go on that speed. Because just imagine back in the early days of GPV, we had the side pull, the calipers, that was rubbing against the rim, and the brakes create heat, which expand the air in the inner tube, and it blows your tire.
Whoa!
So you have to be extremely careful of how long you hold your brakes when you're going that fast. That's why I pump my brakes.
Wow, dude, I didn't even know.
So you guys didn't know that. You didn't know that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like a car tire. When that heats up, that rim heats up, and the heat goes up in the tire, and it's expand the tire. That's why you could start with 30 pounds, and you go down to little S currents or whatever, and you check the air pressure. You might have an extra 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of air in it.
I didn't even think about that, dude. That is some stuff, right?
Yeah. So it's a GPV bike. It takes skill to ride one of those things because anyone can just ride down the hill.
Yeah.
Ride down the hill with speed and cornering to keep your speed up. That's the trick, to keeping your speed up.
That looked incredibly fun because I know that as a kid, we would try to find the biggest hills in the neighborhoods just to ride down them,
Yeah.
And it's like the reward of cranking all the way to the top, or because you're like, oh man, it's gonna be so much fun, it's gonna be worth it, and you finally get to the top, you catch your wind, and then you just go flying down. On a regular BMX bike, it would be shaking really hard,
Yeah.
I was like, so that's the only thing I can relate it to, Tom, because I never did anything as insane as GPV.
Well, it's just like you following somebody on your BMX bike, and also you start catching up to them. On the GPV bike, it's twice as fast because everything is aerodynamic, and it's twice faster. You have to have a plan. If you're on the outside of someone, are you going to brake hard enough to try to outbrake the person, or are you going to try to slingshot it from the outside?
Wow.
So you have to have a plan. Otherwise, you jacked, because the fact is that you don't have no plan. What you're going to do? You're going to freeze up, not think. And that's the wrong thing to do, because when you're not thinking, you already went like 30, 40 feet already, not thinking.
Wow.
And so by the time you get there, you don't know what to do. And that's a disaster right there.
Reaction time.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm glad you didn't fly off a cliff, Tommy, because that would have sucked for all of us.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, dude, we couldn't be more happy that you came on, bro, and we really appreciate it, you taking the time, and thank you for being so understanding and for rescheduling with us. We really do thank you, man.
No, you guys are awesome, man. I can't wait to see you guys at Dirty Fest.
That's gonna be sick, man.
Yeah. That's gonna be lots of fun. We already scheduled, got a plane tickets, everything. We just waiting for the date.
Nice.
I appreciate you guys.
Have a good week. Have a good day. We'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thank you.
Okay, you guys take care.
Peace
Bye,
out,
Danny.
Bye.
Later. All right, man, we did it. Tommy Brackens. Man.
Oh, dude. I'm going to say something right now, dude. I'm going to say something.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, man.
We're good.
We got it.
We're good at this.
Yeah, I agree, dude. I
don't think anybody can mess with us, man. I think we're good.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, it's hard for me not to smile, when I'm listening to these guys talk, because I'm like, damn, that's Tommy Brackens in front of us, man. And I got a lot of respect for these dudes, and our show has leveled up so much. And dang, it's been awesome, dude. It's been a good trip, Kev. And this is just the beginning of 2026, dude. We're only in February.
We're only in February. The best is yet to come. And before I do have to run pretty fast here, but give a shout out to your show, dude.
Andy Pena, BMX Racing on YouTube, BMX Magazine reviews, race reviews, all BMX content all the time. Like and subscribe. We're over 1,000. Got to get to 2,000 now. Not going to stop.
Yeah, never satisfied.
Yeah, never satisfied, right.
some of you have seen I was at the Southern Cal National yesterday. I want to do a whole show with you, Danny, about the National. We don't have time right now, but next week when I get back into town, I'd love to sit down for a bonus episode about the National.
Yeah, you did a 40-minute clip. I watched almost all of it last night.
Isn't it boring as hell?
No, because I picture myself there with you walking around, looking at everything, and I was laying in bed. It was getting late too, man, because I went to the drive-in last night, and I didn't lay down until like, I don't know, it was like midnight last night. And I'm like, oh, let me look at Kevin's video, and I realized it was 40 minutes, dude. And I was watching and watching and watching. I'm like, oh my God, this is a long video, but it's so cool, dude. Yeah.
Man, I almost didn't release it. I almost said, you know what, I'm going to throw this stuff away. I'm never going to save it. But I just said, what the hell, I'll send it out. And if they watch it, they watch. If they don't, I don't blame them. But yeah, it's a long one. But I figured out how to string clips together on Facebook, so that's why I did it on Facebook.
Oh yeah, I saw you were in the picture-in-picture too. You were in the corner.
Yeah, I got a new phone, so now I can do picture-in-picture. And I think I regret doing it now. I never should put my mug in it, but I did, and you got to deal with it.
No, it's cool. I was like, how did he do that?
Yeah.
When I saw him, I was like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So look for that. Look for a bonus episode next week about the National, and we saw a bunch of. I go for another hour about who I talked to and who I saw and all that good stuff. But I think I talked to Matt Hayden at the National, and I think we could enough comfortably be announced that Matt will be on the next episode.
Okay.
And we're also going to have Eddie Fiola come on. So next Sunday it's going to be Eddie and Matt.
That's crazy, man. Are we doing back-to-backs again? That's like oh God, that's so much stuff.
We stack them and then we can relax, dude. We can relax, dude.
That's 3 hours of talking, man. Sometimes
we can cut it wherever we want, man. But we can rest up for next Sunday, dude. I'm sorry.
All right, well,
we got Shane. We got Shane reaching out to people, and we got now we have 5 people backlogged.
I know.
Did you ever think that would ever happen?
No, and I was going to tell you, I go, dude, please don't do back-to-backs again. I was going to tell you because I got so exhausted. My throat was killing me. And I thought, well, we got to do what we got to do, man. If we have a break in between the shows, that'll be good. Because I could recover a little bit. And then we can,
so after next Sunday, or after this coming Sunday, a week from today, we'll kick it back to one episode a day.
Yeah, but we could do if we're gonna go early, that helps too, because then that way I don't spend the entire day, doing podcasts. But but good, man. Very happy, dude. Very good. Good progress. Kevin's getting out there. Merch is looking good. People are liking the shirts. I've been sending them out to some friends and family, and then we're gonna hopefully get some more momentum. I dropped our ad by itself yesterday to get some momentum on that, and I also dropped Cindy's ad solo by itself day before. So yeah, got a lot going on.
Nice.
Good.
All right, man. Thank you very much, Danny. Thank you very much for Tommy. And we'll look for everybody coming back next week when we got Matt Hayden, and we will have Eddie Fiola next week.
Man. All right. Looking forward to it.
The track is closed. Peace out, man.